This is Mrs. Saraswathi would like to explain the role of Manmohan Singh in Indian economy. So these are for competitive exams and that is also helpful for 10th class. Okay, it's extra textual. So now let us see. Late Dr. Manmohan Singh. He played a pivotal role in stabilizing and transforming the Indian economy during his tenure as the finance minister from 1991 to 1996. He was our finance minister. Tenure of office is 5 years from period 1991 to 1996. His leadership during the economic crisis of 1991 laid the foundation of modern India's economic growth trajectory. So, how India's economy grew during that period is the result of his leadership. So, what are the problems he addressed? How did he set right Indian economy? Addressing the 1991 economic crisis. What was the crisis and what are the steps he has taken? India faced a severe balance of payment crisis in 1991. Okay, so with foreign exchange reserves barely insufficient to cover 2 weeks of imports. So, imports and exports, they were not balanced. So, first of all, what did our late Prime Minister do at that time? He was the financial minister. So, secured an emergency loan from the International Monetary Fund. It is called IMF. So, from IMF, he took emergency loan by pledging all the gold reserves in our country. Then he introduced structural reforms to restore economic stability and growth. Okay, so structural reforms, that means how money should be brought, all those plans he has implemented. In this what is the second thing? It is economic liberalization. So Dr. Singh initiated groundbreaking reforms to transition India from a controlled economy to a market driven one. Before that, it was a controlled economy. To speak about controlled economy and transition or changes, transition means changes, then if you want, it becomes a class again. Controlled economy is a topic where we have to learn. So for that, what are the reformations he has done? He brought changes in industrial policy. So dismantle the license Raj system. Dismantle means removed. Okay, reducing bureaucratic hurdles. So whether people take loans and apply and go for industrial production establishments, for all those businesses, instead of having too many intermediaries, he removed many of them and he opened key industries to private sector participation. So private sector was also given chance to interfere into the industrial sector. Next, what is the third thing he has done? Trade policies reforms. Okay, in this, what did he do? He reduced imports tariffs rates, and abolished quantitative restrictions. He numerically, if we say quantitative, qualitative. Quantitative means number. So numbers, restrictions, if many were there, so he reduced them. Promoted exports by making Indian industries globally competitive. So, goods production of goods, the quality of the goods production was increased, and he made people to write, do the manufacturing of goods in par with the foreign investors. Then what he did? Financial sector reforms allowed private sector banks and deregulated interest rates. He invited many people to invest in the banks by giving extra percentage of interest so that people came forward to invest in the banks. Strengthened capital markets. Capital markets, capital, money, investment of money in the markets, and introduced SCBI to regulate them. Okay, so that was the major thing what Dr. Singh has done. And fiscal stabilization. Dr. Singh introduced measures to curb the fiscal deficit and stabilize the economy. To stabilize the economy, also, he made a distinguished changes. Curbing, CURB, curb means cut down. Physical deficit. I think you understood what is deficit. Okay. So, deficit means nothing but unable to meet the needs. Reduced government subsidies in non essential areas. Where it is not essential, he reduced the government subsidies. Okay. Implemented tax reforms. Tax reforms also were reformed and including widening the tax base and rationalizing tax rates. Encouraged foreign direct investments. Allowed people from other countries also to directly invest in the economy by liberalizing rules and sectors. So, some of the changes he made for foreigners also to invest in our economy. And then opening up to global markets. What is this global markets? International market from different countries. He facilitated India's integration into global economy. So instead of selling to only few countries and permitting other countries to come and establish here, he made it open for all countries. And multinational companies entered into economy. So allowed 100% FDI. Direct investment he gave 100% for other country people, foreigners, including telecom, insurance and manufacturing. Even in those sectors also, there was a major change. Then he attracted multinational corporations to set up operations in India. Okay. Uh, for class 10th, it may not be essential, but I'm giving only the side headings here. Promoted technology transfers and international collaborations. Technology transfers and international cooperations were also given. Institutional reforms. What are the institutional reforms he has done? Strengthen the banking system by introducing prudential norms for capital adequacy and non performing assets. For non performing assets and other things, he strengthened it by prudential norms. Okay, he established them and encouraged the development of institutions like the National Stock Exchange. Okay, so he made a distinguished difference. Then impact of reforms. He made those reformations, changes. So what happened? What is the effect on Indian economy? GDP growth shifted the economy from a stagnant 3.4% growth to 6 to 7% in subsequent years. The GDP has increased from 6% to 7%. Okay, it's a very good GDP growth. Foreign exchange reserves improved reserves, eliminating the immediate crisis. So, when he introduced this foreign FDIs, there were improved reserves. Okay, Then on industries, what are the changes that happened on industrial growth? Spurt growth in IT and telecom and service sectors. And poverty also was reduced. Many people got employment and reduced poverty levels due to higher economy. Then legacy. Legacy means continuity. Dr. Singh's reforms are credited with laying the groundwork for India's emergence as a global economic powerhouse. During his times, Indian economy was a powerhouse. From here, many people, other countries also learnt the economic principles that they have to do or reformation needed for their country. His pragmatic approach balanced short-term stabilization with long-term growth, ensuring sustained progress. Okay. If you want more on specific reforms, the sector-wise impact, we will see later classes.